Our headlines today: the Tigray government refutes allegations for the Tigrayan forces that they had joined Sudanese army in the incursions into the Ethiopian territory attacks. Ethiopia shows off combat drones at military event, and Sudanese launches an assault on Ethiopia after alleged executions as well. As we move on to our main updates, the government of Tigray refutes allegations that the Tigrayan forces did in fact join the Sudanese army and their units in the incursions into the Ethiopian territory. Timnit Bairu has more details on this.
The government of Tigray retributes allegation that Tigray forces had joined Sudanese army units in their incursions into Ethiopian territory. The government of Tigray has issued a statement responding to the Ethiopian Ministry of Foreign Affairs June 27, 2022 press release intended to counter accusations by the Sudanese government that the Ethiopian army captured and executed 7 of its soldiers and a civilian on Sudanese territory on June 22, 2022. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs claimed that the incident took place following incursions by a Sudanese regular army unit supported by elements of terrorist TPLF. The statement said after making this categorical claim, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs promised an investigation into the matter, implying uncertainty as to the causes of the incident. The government of Tigray accused the Ethiopian Ministry of Foreign Affairs of trafficking in outright lies, distortions, and half-truths. According to the statement, the Abiy regime, having failed governance, continues to see Tigray as a punching bag, critical in diverting attention away from its embarrassing domestic record and reviving its moribund legitimacy. Its latest allegation that the Tigray forces had joined Sudanese army units in their incursions into Ethiopian territory is an extension of the regime's hallucinatory tendency to Tigrayans lurking in every corner, sowing conflict and discord, the statement underlined. On the same day as the Ministry of Foreign Affairs issued its ludicrous statement, the Abiy regime's so-called Joint Security and Intelligence Task Force made another mendacious claim, blaming Wayane, a shorthand for TPLF or Tigray, for allegedly masterminding horrific massacres against civilians in Gambela region and elsewhere. The government of Tigray stated that in reality, members of the regime's security force have been captured on tape brutally executing civilians in all regions in a broad daylight on many occasions. It added the army regime, bereft of compelling national vision and having squandered inherited institutional strength, has been actively stoking violence across the country. The statement noted that in recent weeks, the international community has expressed cautious optimism about prospects for peace in Ethiopia, adding, however, the barrage of coordinated false claims against Tigray by the Abiy regime is strongly suggestive of the regime's insincere commitment to peace. Ethiopians have suffered enough. They should be not forced to endure more suffering for the sake of messaging the collective ego of a power-crazed clique.
Welcome back, and thank you, Timnit, for that update. A year ago today, the TPLF forces and the Tigrayan forces were able to seize and take back the capital city in the north of Ma'ala. And Ethiopian authorities have now named yesterday a team of 7 negotiators for the possible peace talks with these same Tigrayan forces. The Justice Minister, who is Gideon Timotheos, told state media late Monday that the government's negotiating team will be led by Deputy Prime Minister Damaqa Mokonnen. Tigray's leaders have not yet commented on the latest announcement by the Ethiopian federal authorities, but they have told that the regional president, Debretsion Gebremichael, said in an open letter to the international community on the 15th of June that his side is completely open to peace talks. He also warned that his government's readiness to go the extra mile for peace must not be misunderstood as the readiness to abandon its principles from weakness or greed. It remains unclear where the peace talks would happen. The Tigrayan officials have said that they are prepared to meet in Nairobi, the Kenyan capital, in negotiations hosted as well as facilitated by the Kenyan government. The federal government has also announced a 7-member negotiating committee led by Deputy Prime Minister Damaqa Mokonnen, and the high-level negotiation team also has Gideon Timotheos, Temesgen Taruna, Ambassador Hassan Abdul-Akir, and Ambassador Redwan Hussein, as well as Lieutenant General Burhanu Bakala and Getachew Jenber in part of their members. Gideon said after discussing the committee's report, Abiy's ruling Prosperity Party wants the African Union to oversee a peaceful resolution of this ongoing conflict. He did not provide more details on the report from the committee, It had been given about 10 to 15 days to hammer out the details of this so-called negotiation, and the government officials told Reuters last week that its report would in fact be made public as well. The date and venue for the possible peace negotiations have not yet been set, but the Justice Minister Gideon said earlier today that any outcome of the peace process should be within the bounds of the three principles. And according to the minister, these principles are respect for the constitutional order, respect for the fundamental national interest, and the role of the African Union as a facilitator of the process as well. Gideon was quoted by the Ethiopian press agency as saying that the government stood ready to take action if violence continued, and Ethiopia's deadly war in the northern region of Ethiopia in the country has caused tens of thousands of deaths and displaced many others as well. Ethiopia is currently showing off combat drones at a military event. The Ethiopian Army has displayed its combat drones at a graduation ceremony for military pilots, and according to these images released by the state revelation, an AFP, a drones expert tracking the conflict in Africa's second most populous nation, said these drone footages on Saturday released were a Turkish Bayraktar TB2 and a Chinese-made Wenglong 1. The combat drones have been described as medium-altitude, long-endurance, unmanned aerial vehicles capable of armed attacks. There have also been reports of misuse of these same drones, especially in the killings of innocent Tigrayans through airstrikes, and Ethiopia's public demonstration of its armed drone capabilities is important as this could improve the accountability of how they were used. Wim Wingenberg of the Pax Peace Organization in Netherlands told AFP that the international calls over transparency and accountability over the deployment of lethal forces with armed drones and counterinsurgency operations are both aimed towards the government itself after alleged civilian casualties of drone strikes, as well as the countries who sold them to Ethiopia despite concerns of possible misuse as well. The civilian deaths from these airstrikes and the Tigray war and the conflict in itself as a result of airstrikes have been high and has been a source of concern for the entire world. Sudan has launched an assault on Ethiopia after alleged executions that took place last week. The Sudanese military has launched an offensive against Ethiopian forces along the contested Al-Fashqa border with Ethiopia after the alleged execution of 7 soldiers and a civilian ratcheted up to tensions between the countries. Conflict in fertile Al-Fashqa, which is claimed by both Khartoum and Addis Ababa, occasionally flares up, but largely in dormant this year as Sudanese authorities consolidate their own ruling following an October military coup, while Ethiopia still remains embroiled in a brutal civil war. But however, the Sudanese military did say on Sunday that 7 of its soldiers and a civilian had been executed by the Ethiopian forces in the Amhara region, and Sudan said the men were seized in Sudanese territory, then brought to Ethiopia last week. The deaths and the claims have sparked military, political, and diplomatic escalation throughout both countries, with Ethiopia denying it was responsible for the killings and accusing Sudan of cooperating with Tigray's People's Liberation Front, which the Ethiopian government is at war with currently, and the government of Tigray has labeled this claim as an outright lie. On Monday evening, clashes between Sudanese and the Ethiopian forces were ongoing in Al-Fashqa, and a Sudanese summoned Ethiopia's ambassador and made a formal complaint to the UN Security Council. And sources told Middle East Eye that clashes were witnessed in various areas of the small Al-Fashqa region that borders Ethiopia's Amhara state. Fighting reached the areas of Abu Tayor as well as Berkat, Nurian, and Gumaiza. An official in Gedaraf state, which includes an Al-Fashqa territory, told Middle East Eye that the Sudanese army has advanced on different fronts. Abdul Fattah al-Burhan, Sudan's ruler and head of the military, visited his troops in Al-Fashqa on Monday in a show of force. "We don't have a lot to say. We will particularly show them our power and strong reply. We can until we are all dead, or we can support our military by all means necessary, again until we all die." Nabil Abdullah, the military spokesman refused to give MEE further details of the military operation, but did in fact insist that the army would liberate all Sudanese territories. Eyewitnesses said military reinforcements were being sent from Gadaref city to Al-Fashqa, though Sudan said the soldiers and the civilians were seized on the 22nd of June. An eyewitness told MEE that the incident happened the day before when a Sudanese patrol near the Al-Fashqa village came under attack. Abdullah said the men were captured, taken to Ethiopia, and then killed, and their corpses were mutilated, as he said images perpetrated to the bodies of the slain soldiers had been circulating throughout the web. However, the eyewitnesses did say the Sudanese had been killed in Al-Asira before being taken back to Ethiopian land. As we move on to our final update for today, Maarag Taraga, also known as Maggie, who's a model pharmacist, but most importantly, a philanthropist that founded Shoes, My Shoes, Your Shoes Project. This organization has been around since founded in 2014 with the purpose of providing shoes to girls in developing countries who have no choice but to walk to school barefoot. Therefore, they can safely walk to school and receive the education that they need to thrive in the world with these donations that she sends. Last week, another round of donations was sent into Adwa in the Tigrai region and to schools occupying mostly kids. They were able to deliver everything from shoes to school supplies and books, as you guys can see on your screen. Maarag said in a statement sent to TMH, "My organization was able to send money to Adwa to help the kids at school for school supplies and shoes. They just gave them to them last week, and I would love to share the videos with everybody and my people. As to my goal is to reach every child in Tigray, and I want our people to be a part of it."
So good morning to everybody from Adwa in the Moscow Adwa this moment. So at this moment I would like to express our gratitude and appreciation for the My Shoes, Your Shoes organizations based in America, that you are always supporting us, you are always beside us, even though at this moment there is no banking system, we are under blockage and seized almost for 1 year already since last June 2021. But you are always show your goodness, show your generosity towards our children in the Moscow Adwa. So at this moment, I would like to invite our students to say thank you to each one of you, our donors of the My Shoes, Your Shoes organizations.
First of all, good morning, everybody. I will say thank you to My Shoes, Your Shoes organization, because My Shoes, Your Shoes organization gives us everything to all of students. At this time, not banking.
Welcome back. That concludes our news for today, and happy Maqala Day to everybody tuned in. We'll be back for some more tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.